The Promised Land, original title Bastarden, is out in theaters, new Danish historical drama from director Nikolai Artzel, whose last film was the apparently dreadful adaptation of Stephen King's Dark Tower series. This movie is based on a novel by Ida Jensen, and stars Mads Mikkelsen and Amanda Collin. The story takes place in 18th century Denmark. Mads Mikkelsen is a captain coming off a 25-year career in the military. He's come from nothing. He was a bastard of a nobleman and had to climb his way out of nothing, out of poverty, to get to where he is now. He requests permission from the king to take another attempt at civilizing the wild outskirts of Jutland. The land there is apparently barren, cold, nothing grows, nobody wants to move there. Bandits rob people. Several attempts at building outposts there have failed already. But Captain Kahlen is stubborn and believes he can make a difference. He can set up the first successful village there. He ends up getting no funds from the crown, but instead a promise that should he succeed on his own, he will get a nobleman's title. But as soon as he finds a promising piece of land and builds a house there, problems arise, because it turns out that the young nobleman judge, whose land borders the wilds, has a problem with anyone building there and begins to attempt to drive Kahlen out. So first things first, this is yet another remarkable Mads Mikkelsen performance. He's truly incredible in the way he does so much with so little. He doesn't need to speak a lot because his eyes tell a whole story. In this case, it really fits the character as well. The hard, solitary, stubborn captain is someone who talks little, and when he does, it's mostly practical stuff. But his eyes betray all this wealth of emotion. Amanda Collin is also very good, and I was shocked to learn at the end that was her, that was the person that I loved so much in Raised by Wolves, because she's completely unrecognizable here. Secondly, I think the story is really well written and explores some interesting themes, because initially it seems like it's going to be a fairly simple and well-treaded story about right versus wrong, good versus evil, justice versus injustice. And while yes, the antagonist, the young judge, does remain fairly one-note evil and cruel and easy to hate, he is a kind of a man driven by greed. The captain is not always good and honorable. He's not the polar opposite. He's sort of driven by ambition and a sense of singular purpose, and as a result he often ends up doing things that are not exactly morally or ethically good. In fact, I'd argue that the whole point of the film is not even this external conflict between these two men, but rather the resulting from that internal conflict within the captain, and the fact that he fails to realize that at one point he already finds happiness and purpose and serenity, even though he hasn't yet achieved his lifelong dream. And only after he loses each and everything that made him unconsciously happy, he realizes what he's lost and begins to work towards getting that back. Thirdly, the cinematography is great, and I loved the beautifully barren locations. It does feel like the captain is at the end of the world. You feel the cold and unforgiving nature all around him. The atmosphere of the film is very engrossing, for sure. Supporting performances are all very good. I like the production design, the clothes, the tools, houses, etc. There's a great contrast between the rudimentary, poor farmhouse of the captain and the mansion of the judge, that further establishes these characters as being opposite to one another. I liked it quite a lot. I think it's a genuinely great film with a fantastic central performance by Mads Mikkelsen and a well-done exploration of ambition versus happiness. Solid stuff.